Podcast, episode 3. I am Chris, joined here with Marc C.
Hey.
Marc with a K.
Yeet.
And Robert, aka Rob, aka.
You're gonna call me a cookie, aren't you?
Yes.
Damn it.
AKA.
Yeah, you got to keep the continuity.
I did that to myself. I know. I shot myself in the foot there.
You gotta keep your promises, man.
Great.
Always. I promised I'd call you Cookie, and now you're Cookie. So joined by Rob, aka Cookie, and yeah, really excited to join you for episode 3 of this podcast.
So what do we talk about on this podcast?
We talk about games, we talk about news,
What?
games, news, and
Games?
news about
Oh,
games.
video
yeah.
games. Oh,
What?
Yeah.
I did not
And
know
news?
this. Games.
Which is pretty lit. Games, news about games, and all those things in between. There's lots of game news going on this week. Black Friday's coming up. Lots of sales going on. But I know that we're just going to kick it off talking about the game that 3 out of 4 of us have been playing like no other, and that's Pokemon Let's Go.
Pokemon, get it.
Yeah. Let's get it.
Oh yeah.
Pokemon Let's Get It. General thoughts. Let's start with that. Marc with a K. How you feeling?
I feel good. I feel good
Yeah.
about it so far. I mean, it's a Pokemon, that's for sure.
Mhm.
And it's classic. There's some things that I really think they should have changed for the better, but we'll get to that later. But overall, satisfying experience.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Rob?
Me, I'm very pleased with this. As a person that doesn't that doesn't spend too much time, that just can't find myself wanting to invest too much time on a game for any given period of time. I'm very glad that this game doesn't force itself down my throat, and that I could take it at a nice leisurely pace. Shut up. It's certainly as a person that originally played Pokemon Yellow when I was a kid, I'm very happy with having Let's Go Pikachu as as the game that I picked, because I know the both of you guys picked Let's Go Eevee, and
Yes.
you guys are not wrong, and I do believe 100% that Eevee is the superior game. But as the one
sounds
that
like
started
buyer's
off,
remorse from Rob. Version
but
buyer's
it's not
remorse.
buyer's remorse, because I'm actually getting to play out my childhood all over again. I started with a Pikachu back when I was a kid about 20 years ago, and I get to do it all over again, and that makes me happy. Plus, I get to make Pikachu make that surprised meme face, which is really fantastic. So, I'm very happy about that. But we could talk about our pros and cons as we go along.
Well,
But,
short
just my general
disclaimer. Contrary to how the names would suggest, you can catch Eevee and Pikachu in both games. So
Yes.
True.
So it's really not it's Let's Go.
But can you
Let's
give
get it.
them cool glasses if you catch them in the wrong version?
No, you
No.
can't. There you
No.
go. See? There you
No.
go.
But they can
That-
still hang out behind you, though.
Yeah.
Okay. But they don't
So,
they don't
hold
get
on.
the lucrative real estate on your shoulder, right?
No.
That's the most important
Yeah.
part. But Chris, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, what are
so
your
far?
thoughts, sir?
I have a lot of thoughts on this game, man. For like a week ago, we went into, or 2 weeks ago, I went into it, and I wasn't really feeling the catch system, because if you don't know, the catch system is way different. In this game, usually in the older games, you would just fight the random Pokemon. First of all, you randomly encounter Pokemon. This one is like kind of a random encounter, but you see they randomly pop in the world around you, and then you can choose whether or not you want to go over and get into it with that Pokemon. And then you don't actually fight that Pokemon. You actually just have to catch it by enticing it with sweet raspberries and other kinds of berries, and hope that makes your catching it easier. I didn't think I was going to like it. I don't hate it now, the system.
So
It
what
could
you're saying
be-
is you
it
like it
could
a
be
little
better.
more.
Yeah,
And you thought
I
that
didn't
you
think it. My biggest problem with it is the actual motion controls with the catching them. Because if you played in handheld mode, it's actually kind of fun, because you're just spinning your switch around, and then the screen's moving around while you spin it, but you don't have to actually throw your Switch. Like, you don't gotta like fling your Switch
I
at
would
its
hope
screen.
not. I would hope
But if you play with one of the joysticks, you actually had to like flick it like you're flicking a Pokeball in Pokemon Go, but instead of like you're just flicking the whole controller. So that motion control is pretty wonky.
I agree
But
with that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like sometimes I'll throw it straight, and I don't know if you guys tried it, but if it goes all the way to the right
yeah,
or all
it
the way to the
curves.
left,
Yeah, I
when you
noticed
very
that too.
clearly threw it straight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So things like that, that I think need to be fixed for the next game. But overall, I'm enjoying it.
So
I'll
I'll
not
say
enjoying it. I've pretty much beaten it, but I've enjoyed it. Go ahead.
I'll say to the tune of the catch system, or rather the encounter system as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
I really do like that you can see what Pokemon is in the overworld before you get into a battle with it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of takes away from the whole idea of a random encounter. The random encounter is whether or not they show up, but you can avoid a wild Pokemon for the entire game if you wanted to just, solo the game. But
I got a question.
yes.
So in your estimation, compared to Pokemon Yellow, are there still like I'm gonna struggle to think of one, but you know how there's in certain routes there's like really really hard to find random encounters in Yellow. Do you think like the numbers, like the probability of finding certain Pokemon is like true to the original games, or is that?
Yes.
Oh, it is. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So they definitely still have a percentage chance to show up because Rattatas show up
All
way
the
too
time.
frequently.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on, I got one.
So-
Hold on, I gotta. So the Pidgeotto in Viridian Forest, is that still really hard to find?
I
mean,
didn't see one.
Yeah.
I
I
didn't
went
see one.
I went through Viridian Forest in, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes or so. I
Mm.
caught Pikachu in Viridian Forest.
I mean,
Ah.
they've changed what you can encounter as well. So, like for example, you can find an Oddish in Route 1. Like you
Yeah,
weren't able to find
Oh.
before.
or if you're playing Eevee, you find a Bellsprout on Route 1, which was not like that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
what you encounter is different, but the idea of there being different encounter rates, and the idea itself still exists. It's just that they're not putting Pokemon in the
Yeah.
same places.
Mhm.
Not
It,
all.
it's the probability of a specific Pokemon to show up. It's pretty much, instead of it, being,
In
But,
terms of to go off of that really quick, now we're talking about like appearance rates and stuff like that. The fact that there's only 150 Pokemon in this game, kind of,
It makes you
I
sad.
haven't like the end game isn't as appealing
lucrative.
to me.
But
It's
are
not
you
as appealing
counting
to
all
me.
the Alolan counterparts that you can find if you trade for them? How many of the Alolan
I mean,
types are in
I've
there?
gotten a few of them. Like you can get the you can get a bunch. You get an Alolan Geodude.
Yeah, those are
Really?
rares that I found in the Pokemon
Yeah.
Center.
That's pretty
That was
awesome.
nice.
I got an Alolan Vulpix, which is lit because it's
That is-
ice
that is
instead.
nice. That is
So
lit.
cool.
Oh,
Um,
evolutions. Is it limited to the Gen 1 ones or what?
Well, you can't
As
evolve
a-
it.
Yes.
But can you?
Yes, they are.
But you
I-
can get
I-
a different Eevee and evolve it, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
So
okay.
so hold on. I'm not sure if it is limited though, because there's ice. Oh wait, no, ice stones are only for evolving Alolan Vulpix. Never mind, scratch that.
Okay.
But
Go ahead.
I don't remember where I was going, so keep going.
Yeah, no, it definitely is just only the original 150. And like what I used to love about the other games and what I kind of took for granted is that after the fact, there are so many like niche Pokemon that you might want to go find, or like weird ones. So like I would always want an electric in the other games because it
Yes.
had levitate, but it was electric, so it was like
It didn't have a weakness.
it didn't have a weakness, exactly. So I would always want that Pokemon, but in this game, I don't think there's any Pokemon like that I can actually find. You know what I mean?
So-
That's like a weird niche that way.
So branching further on that topic then. So does that mean that there's no national dex? Because that kind of That's kind
I
of
mean,
lame.
how do you have a national dex if you literally can't catch anything past the first
Well,
150?
because the game is integrated with Pokemon Go, which is up to Generation 4 now.
Right, I forgot about
So
that
you
part.
could have Generation 2, 3, and 4 Pokemon in the game. I would have
DLC.
assumed that that's something that they could have added into the post game, but
Mhm.
hearing that, that makes me very upset.
Yeah. Though I was reading up a little bit on it on potential DLC, and they did not rule it out.
It
Game
would
Freak.
seem it would seem very Game Freak like
Yes,
to do that.
exactly. And I think the reason they wouldn't want to do it is because they could just sell a whole brand new game and make a bunch of money on it
And-
It's
again.
true.
and
And
they
we're
will
talking
make
about
a
a
bunch of
Nintendo
money.
And they
company.
will.
We're talking
Yeah,
about a
and
Nintendo company here. They're probably gonna.
They 100% will. They 100% will. But if they do that, they need to add a little bit more of the complexity that was in, the past games because they did dumb it down a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
Does this seem like a
counter.
one-off? Do you think that they're sorry, Rob?
No, go for it. No, go finish your thought.
Do these choices that are so different from the typical games, do you think that this is a one-off still? I mean, I know that I think that's kind of how it was
No.
being
I
kind of portrayed,
I
but do you think that they're gonna keep it that way or what?
So there's some changes that I really do think are great quality of life changes
Mhm.
that
Seeing your
would
Pokemon
really
in the
make
overworld.
sense for like being able to see what you encounter before you encounter it is great.
Mm-hmm.
I would absolutely love that
Mhm.
if they kept that further on. I mean, you always have access to the box.
Oh my god,
that
it's
is real
amazing.
that is really nice. Does it take away from making choices on what
Yes.
you want to have in your team? 100%. But so far, I haven't really felt like that it's been much of a hindrance. So
Same.
much as it's been like, I have access to everything all the time. So it's like, the benefit definitely outweighs losing that like challenge aspect, but I mean I still want a hard poke.
The game's definitely easier. I think that I like it for the main game where that you can access your box all the time,
Right.
right? But I think it's always gonna have to be in terms of like competitive battling. You're not really gonna, or at least if you battle someone online, you're not gonna know what Pokemon you're preparing for ahead of time. So you're still gonna have to make your, best choice of your own party. So I think for in game, it just makes it a little bit easier to get through all of that. But outside of the game, I don't think it changes enough for people to really have a problem with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of my biggest issues though is with the catch system in the game, and it really relates to a bunch of things. It's like one, I think it's really repetitive
Mm-hmm.
that the only way to level up outside of a trainer battle is to consistently have to catch Pokemon
Mm-hmm.
because like you can't weaken down a Pokemon, catch it, and have it be easier like that. Like you have to time it at the small circle, which isn't a big deal. Like it really isn't a big deal to try and catch stuff, but it's just there's only so much you can do to improve your chances of catching a Pokemon
Mm-hmm.
that it really makes it very annoying when you're using a Great Ball and a
Mm-hmm.
Raspberry
And
and you
still do
throw it,
nothing.
you get an excellent throw and you get the triple shake and then it's like thanks for playing.
on like a Rattata. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff that
kills me.
yeah, I do not like. I have almost a full team. I'm starting to import stuff for Pokemon Go now, so I'm not gonna catch anything else. So like to focus in on that being your main way of leveling stuff up is A, lunacy, and B, I want regular wild Pokemon battles back.
Well, of course you would, and I know you, and I know you certainly would be the type as the one that really values like the larger aspects of Pokemon games to sorely miss them here. And I just want to provide a counterpoint here because I'm actually kind of a fan of what they did with this catch system. Now, when I was talking about my general thoughts about it and not wasting my time, one of the main examples is because of the way the catch system is designed. You're right in the sense that it is a pain in the butt where the Pokemon don't get caught when there's only so much there's only so much you can do. You throw a berry at it, you use a great ball, and still doesn't get caught. But at the same time, just thinking about the old dynamic of, oh great, I've got to whittle its HP all the way down close to red without killing it, and if I kill it by accident, I have to restart and try to find it all over again. That to me wasted a lot of my time as a kid, and I wasn't exactly very fond of that as well. Now, I'm not saying that I like the new catch system. I'm just saying that I appreciate what they did with it, and I appreciate that the game appreciates my time. That's my aspect. That's my perspective on it.
So it's like I don't like that I can throw 10 Pokeballs at something and them all be perfect throws, and then it breaks out of all 10 of them,
I
and then it
mean,
decides it wants to run away on the 10th one.
I mean, the
And
catch
raspberries are really hard to come by.
Yeah, like I
It's
think
really annoying.
I'm not sure if you could ever buy them because I don't think
You
I'm
can't.
far enough. Okay, so you
You
can't. So
can't.
the only way to get them, I think, is then from your your
By catching Pokemon.
no,
from
or your
catching
field,
Or finding them on a bush.
or your
or
field
yeah,
Pokemon
like
finding it on a
your
bush.
follow.
Yeah,
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 like
exactly.
to
They don't
make them,
find that many on a bush, to be
yeah,
honest.
They
I
don't.
think
For
that
how many Pokemon you need to catch, you find literally nothing on a bush.
Fair.
yeah. I just I don't think this is really the best catch system. Again, I get why the catch system is the way it is, and that's fine as long as it's a one-off. I am okay with it being the way it is right now,
But
as
I'm
long as it's a one-off.
in general, but I also think, or rather, I'm actually just kind of happy with it because it prioritizes wanting to catch a collection. And so another thought that came to me was I had this Metapod in my party, and I was comparing in my head how I would have to do it in older games where I would have to, without an EXP share, you would be throwing out a Metapod that can do nothing but harden and then switching it out every single time in order for it to gain XP. Whereas in this case, at least it shares all the XP evenly every time you catch a new Pokemon. I appreciated that aspect.
I don't think it actually.
It's not even. The one
It
that
definitely
was
is not even
It's not
because
even,
Yeah.
but at least it gains
I
XP and you don't have to waste your time
well
switching it in and out.
well
Go
so
ahead.
I have that brings me to one of my next issues with the game. The experience gains make no sense. Really
What do you
doesn't
mean?
make any sense because I am trying to level up a Wartortle, the
Mhm.
Squirtle that you get for catching 60 Pokemon.
What?
Mhm.
I was
Explain
yeah.
explain this.
So you
Yeah.
remember how in Pokemon Yellow you could still get
Yeah.
Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle.
Yes.
So instead of just being given them now, you have to catch, I think it's 30, 50, 60,
Huh.
Yeah, it's like a progression
respectively.
gate if you want to think of it that
So
way.
so I'm leveling my Wartortle that I got for catching 60. And compared to the rest of my team, it gains no experience.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if it's because I'm not the original trainer or if there's something that I'm missing that I have just completely overlooked, but
It's
I
not
w-
it's not even it though.
I
Sorry,
I
continue.
I battled. I think it was like an Onyx that was 10 levels higher than it, and it got
Mhm.
150 experience.
Mhm.
Like that makes no sense when other things in my party are gaining 400 experience. There's no reason that something that's lower leveled gains less experience than something that's higher leveled.
It's extremely difficult
It
to
doesn't make any sense.
level up a really low level Pokemon in this game until you get to the end game. Like in regular battles, it's not going to do much, and then when you actually catch Pokemon out in the wild, you get more compared to when you're fighting something. But if you beat like a level 40, like you said, like a level 40 something, and your war total's at level 10, maybe it'll get to level 11. Meanwhile, in the last game, that shit would blow it up like
You would,
5
Right.
levels
yeah,
That's a
you would.
good point.
because you know what I mean? And
I
they don't
didn't know
have that in
that.
this
I
game.
did not know that. I
Nope.
mean,
So
because I've not gotten to the point where I've been having big level
Mhm.
differentials. I did not know this. Go ahead, Mark.
so I also know that there's been, I guess, more of a focus on. Obviously, there's more of a focus on catching Pokemon. So I know that the more you catch an individual Pokemon. So let's say I'm on Route 1 and I'm chaining Rattatas. Every time you catch a Rattata, your catch counter goes up by 1. I think the max is 30.
Oh.
And each time your counter goes up, you gain more experience the longer you chain together the catches, which also increases your shiny chance. But
And your chance at good stats.
and good stats, and I think maybe items as well. So I know that there's a like an emphasis on catching stuff, but that doesn't make any sense.
Catching 50 Rattatas in a row is actually also really annoying. Like catching so many of them. I spent 2 hours trying to find a fucking Magikarp with good stats, and I had to catch like 30 different Magikarp to find one that was like good. And that's my personal choice. But I gained like 100 XP from every Magikarp that I caught, no matter how level. The system's wonky, man. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Even when I got to like a multiplier of 20 Magikarp caught, it was still like 150 points, even though the Magikarp was level 40. So I don't know.
Yeah, so like it's something like that really bothers me, that they really took all the emphasis, like strengthening your Pokemon by battling. Like, nope, you get it by catching a million of its own kind.
Yeah. Well,
or not of its own kind, but I think you know what I mean.
To get like, there are a lot of things that I think we could all agree need to be improved for the next game, but I think there are also a lot of things that we really love about it. So
Yeah.
I don't want it to come off as like we don't enjoy this game, because I beat the game in 2 days. I beat the game. It took me 25 hours. I played it in 2 days and I beat the whole thing. And I sent a text message to my wife and she was just like, "Oh my God." And I was just like, "I fucking love Pokemon." So like, it's a really good game. It's a lot of fun. I think there are some things that we want to see integrated into the new games and things that we want to see come back from the old games.
I mean, I just gotta say, like, again, since I hardly got time to play it at all, I think I've played the least of you guys. I literally started just the other day, and I only just finished Cerulean City. But like the pinnacle moment that came to me was when I walked into Mount Moon and then realized, holy shit, I can take more than 10 steps and not have to worry about a fucking Zubat. Like, I thought that was mind.
Yep.
I'm like,
they were still there.
Oh, they're still there, but at least you can.
You can just dodge them.
Yeah, you can dodge them. It's like, I can enjoy this cave and not be so afraid to take a step and have to worry about backtracking. You know, I thought that was just mind blowing. I don't know, that might be just me, but I thought that was great, and I just love it.
I also really like how HMs aren't a thing. They don't take up a spot on my Pokemon's like attack list.
I haven't gotten there yet. So like, what did they do then? Is it just like a sub menu or something?
Did you play Sun and Moon at all? No, right?
Nope.
All right, so it's called a special move that you teach. It's taught to, obviously, either your Eevee or your Pikachu. So it's cut, fly, flash, like all of those are now like, you go into, like, remember Pokemon and Me? Well, it's basically back, and there's a menu for your special moves, so you can use cut. There's 2 more that I haven't gotten yet. I'm gonna assume one of them is strength.
Strength, yep.
But
so they're in just a sub menu, and it's not an actual move that you use in battle, so it doesn't take up one of your 4 slots.
So
nope. But you can still move. They can still learn those moves. They just don't do anything.
Yeah.
So
like, one of them, for instance, the one for fly, is a bunch of balloons attached to like a bicycle. It looks absolutely ridiculous.
That sounds hilarious.
It looks absolutely ridiculous, but that is how you fly from city to city.
And I kind of love it though. It's so Nintendo and so weird, and I really kind of love it.
You know, like following on that point, like another thing that I really love about this game is like the Pokemon that you have following around, or depending on which Pokemon you pick, the Pokemon that you get to ride on.
And they have special animations for a lot.
For a lot of them, you know. So I'm gonna go back to the example about this Oddish I had. I don't even really like Oddish, but this Oddish is staying in my party for a while because I think it's adorable. There was this one point during Viridian Forest where I was just running around, and then all of a sudden it just goes and runs off, and I'm like, "What are you running to?" And it just runs off to like the piece of the forest, and then it says it's enjoying the sunlight, and I realize it's in a patch of sunlight. I'm like, that is
that is
such great
super
attention
cool.
to detail. That is so
'Cause
great.
Mhm.
I
like
love that.
like Wartortle ran up to the fountain in Celadon City, and it says Wartortle was splashed by the water in the fountain. It seems to be enjoying itself, and it's like that like it adds a little more personality to a
Yeah.
game that I mean outside of like the Pokemon itself, though it doesn't really have too much personality.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's really nice that they did that.
It gives
And
them personal flair. I like that. I agree.
for some reason, Bellsprout is super fast. And when I made Bellsprout be my follow Pokemon as soon as I caught it, the thing ran ahead of me immediately.
That's awesome.
And it's just like, what are you doing?
That's hilarious.
Not that fast in battle. You keep getting smacked around, but as soon as we get outside of the Pokeball, you decide to fucking
super
Usain Bolt.
fast.
Speaking of
It's
Bolt,
it's unbelievable. Yeah. And one more thing about Pokemon. I think we should really move on because we talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
so much Pokemon. But it's because I just love it so much.
I think we all share that. Go ahead.
Yeah, when I think the other cool thing is like, yes, going off of them being thoughtful, they I got him a champ. I traded it to my buddy and then traded it back so I can get him a champ. And I said to myself, man, I really hope that I can actually get on my Machamp's back and he like gives me a piggyback ride. Right. And as soon as I called it, as soon as I
So
put
good.
him outside, he picked me up and I was on his shoulders.
Oh.
And I was just like running around on my
That's
Machamp.
awesome.
And like, it's like, that's literally what I would want to do if I was a Pokemon trainer. Like, nah, man, you're gonna carry me around. You're giant and really strong, and I'm
I'm
weak
not.
and
I'm a
tiny.
child.
I kind of
Yeah,
love
and
the
I'm like
Pokemon are
13.
to scale in the like actual world now if you have them following you, because
They are
Yeah.
generally, right? Yeah.
Well,
I'd say
They
so.
are 100%.
Yeah.
because I saw I think Chris, it was you that sent a screenshot of the Onyx, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
huge. That's the way it
Yeah.
should be. I like we're just getting that much closer to like the realism of it.
The Pokemon
I want a
game that
first
was-
person. I want a first person Pokemon RPG.
Oh,
That's
be
what I
careful,
want.
man.
That's it.
Oh, that's
careful.
all.
That's what I want.
Tall
God damn, it would be
expectations.
so great.
Let's get our multi-plat. Let's get our multi. Oh, never mind. We'll continue.
I just have a couple final thoughts on the Pokemon topic. It looks good.
Mhm.
Like the aesthetic is very nice. The music sounds fantastic.
Mhm.
Not sure if I think it was worth $60 though. And I can't wait for the next Pokemon game.
Well, temper your expectations, keep them in check. You'll never know if you end up waiting another 2 years, but I certainly, for one, can't wait to see the next one as well. Hopefully, they
Probably.
can take what they've done with this game and build on its strengths and, tone back on the weaknesses. One can only
Yeah.
hope, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's selling so well at this point that I don't think you're gonna be seeing any Black Friday deals on it anytime soon.
Probably not. But
too
when is
soon,
Black
yeah.
Friday? Is that
It's-
coming up soon?
It's coming out. We got a couple days.
We got like
about
2 days from time
Wow.
of recording. Yeah, about 2 days.
Wow, where have I been?
I don't know. And so, looking at this list of games that are going to be on sale, you guys gonna pick anything up next couple days?
Well, Mark, you've
Yeah.
already purchased something, haven't you? Technically.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's really a Black Friday deal, but the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Special Edition was down to like $65 on Amazon, so I bought it, and we're gonna do the old swapperoo. Rob
Because
and
I really
He-
love Xenoblade Chronicles 2, so
And
I'm gonna
he
take
really-
take
yeah.
all of the materials from that and give Mark the base game and pay him
and
back the
plus
difference.
some money.
Of course, pay back
Nice.
the
Don't you
difference.
forget it.
I'm not, but I do want my hands on some goodies. I do like that Steelbook, and I love that game, so I
But
could go on for a while. But go ahead.
I
What else do you got
am-
planned?
I do have my eye on God of War for
Yep.
Yeah, that's a
$17 at
must.
GameStop. That's
That's
a
a steal.
phenomenal deal.
Mark with
Um,
the C's played it. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
looking at
that's a top 5 this year for sure.
Mhm.
Or top
I'm
3.
looking at Far Cry 5 for
Mm-hmm.
$25 because I've been wanting to play that. And then maybe Destiny Forsaken. That'll probably wrap it
Well,
up for me.
Forsaken's not really on a sale, is it? Is it on sale?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it is?
yeah, it's
$35.
35.
All right, there you go. Very nice.
So we'll see.
Mhm.
But that looks like all of
Yeah, I think I'm on the same boat as you with God of War. I was waiting for it to drop full price. 'Cause even though I know it's a great game, it's one of those games that I couldn't justify spending $60 on just because of my history of buying games full price that I've never played before. Um, but I know $17, I'm gonna get
Yeah.
a lot of game for it.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man's $40. I'm probably gonna pick that up too.
See, that one's
So Chris,
surprising.
I see a game on this list.
Yeah.
That's $30 at GameStop. Starts with an F, ends with an all-out 76. Um, is this something you're looking at picking up at $30 a week and a half after it came out?
Here's
That's
God.
just
Why you
sad.
gotta
That's just
why you
sad.
gotta do that to me, man?
They're
Like you
just
really gotta put me
facts.
on a spot with this one.
Listen,
I know
someone,
it's facts.
sometimes it just be like that.
It'd be like that sometimes. I don't know, man. Like I've been fighting myself so hard because I hate Bethesda for doing this. Like I really do. Giving us a game that's unfinished should have been delayed a whole year and gotten its life together. But instead, they gave us a mess of a beta, and then they were like, "Yeah, it's gonna be fine." And then they come out, it's still broken as all hell, and like they don't say anything about it. If you go on all of their social media, it's just radio silence
They're
everywhere.
expecting the players to fix it for them, isn't that?
But
what they
I just
always do?
But we've done that so much. But if you don't give us fucking mods when the game comes out, then we can't fix it for you. So like, what am I supposed to say? I don't.
You know
No.
what? They probably just think it's another Elder Scrolls Online situation. Wasn't that the game that
But-
they released that was terrible, and then the community fixed it, and then everyone loves it now? Isn't that what?
But
they
it
did?
wasn't terrible in the same ways. Like it wasn't buggy like this game is. And this is not ZeniMax Studios, ZeniMax Online. This is Bethesda Game Studios. It's the first game they've made since before Oblivion that is not going to win Game of the Year awards. And like it's
Wow.
not even going to come close. Like it's selling 82% less in the first week than Fallout 4. That's
Yikes.
ridiculous.
I mean, it being at $30 like this soon after it came out is like a very, very bad sign for
Yeah,
something
that's
like this.
very telling.
Yeah, it's terrible. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm gonna buy it even for the $30 because I'm afraid that they're gonna take such a huge loss on it that they're just gonna start working on something else and not support it like they said they were going to.
Right.
I
You
think
know?
that's a
I
fair
don't know.
point. You know, if it's eroded your trust in it, then they probably don't deserve your hard-earned money.
It's
If you
eroded
spend
my
more-
trust in all of Bethesda,
Oh,
to be honest.
Really
Yeah,
even for the
it has.
future of Fallout.
interesting.
because I always thought that they put out games that they really did put a lot of hard work into, and yeah, sure they were buggy, but like when they released prior, like the games Skyrim, Fallout 4, yeah, they had bugs, but they weren't as unfinished as this game is. This is sloppy on Bethesda's part. They shouldn't have released this game. And they could have pushed it back, but they decided not to and get the quick cash for it. So like that completely they lost a bunch of trust in my mind after
I mean,
this.
that really is just the trouble with a lot of game publishers these days, just pushing out a game and then releasing a whole bunch of patches and hoping people are
Yeah.
happy, you know, just to get to the bottom line with the money. That's very unfortunate, but it really
but-
shows here, I'm sure.
But
Yeah.
but not to get too deep into this, but like I mean, isn't that exactly what this seemed like from the
Get-go?
get-go? That
Yeah.
it was really just how can we make money right now so that next year we can bring you guys something you'll actually want.
Well,
Or like
some of-
The thing
tide
is-
people over, right? Yeah.
It's not going to be next year though. Like they were saying that start like Pete Hines straight up said that Bethesda Game Studios track record of like how long it takes them to put a game together and then release it, the timeline is staying the same even through the studio. So that means we're not going to get another Bethesda Game Studios game for 3 years.
Oh
Oof,
wow.
that is rough. That
Ugh.
is rough.
That
I'm
if
sorry.
that doesn't leave a sour taste in your mouth, I don't know
Yeah.
what
Yeah, but
does.
I'm curious why they didn't do something like, because the example that was set previous to this is Fallout 3 to Fallout New Vegas, right? They came out pretty soon after each other, and one was obviously like it was like the same engine. It was basically just like a re-skinning, like like a big really well done mod basically for Fallout 3 that they shipped
Mhm.
out to a different development studio to make, so that they didn't have to be kind of, I guess, bogged down with building out something like that while they're working on whatever new stuff they're working on. And I'm curious maybe why they didn't like seek help from like a studio that knows online games a little bit better, that could be like, hey, here's all the buggy shit that your engine's gonna do, right? Like
I guess they
if you
just
build
wanted to
this.
prove that they could do it, which they didn't.
They spent like 2 years, dude, completely redoing the engine so that it was player capable. And like at that point, you should just fucking use a different engine. Like I don't know what to say
Unreal.
to you,
Yeah.
Use
dude.
Unreal Engine 4, just like all the other complaints. Why don't you use Unreal Engine 4? At least you make your porting life easier for everyone else. But no.
Yeah.
We could go into a whole big thing about engines at this point.
But
Yeah.
Mark and Rob, are you guys looking to buy anything this Black Friday?
Yeah.
I don't have much. Mark with a C, you if you've got something. for
Yeah,
me.
I've got a couple of things that I've been like eyeing for a little while, and I never wanted to buy them at full price, but now they're like pretty cheap, which is awesome. So the first one is Monster Hunter World, and I want to like asterisk this that I'm not sure how active the like online community will be by this point, but it's only $20, which is
It's a
wild.
good
And I
good
really
deal.
liked the demo that came out a while back, and I was a little bummed that you guys didn't want to buy it too. But now that
Sorry.
it's $20, I don't need you guys to buy it. I'll just buy it myself.
Hey man, you do you.
Yeah,
Don't let us hold you back.
so I'm gonna pick that one up, and then I could probably get a bunch of fun out of it playing solo. If that's, I don't know if there's any kind of matchmaking or anything to do, your missions with other people, but I'm sure there's like a lot to do solo in there, so I'm fine with that. And then the other thing that I saw that caught my eye was Dragon Quest 11 for both these
Ooh,
for
I was about
PS4.
to bring that up.
Yeah, Dragon Quest
Yeah.
11, $30 off. I've only heard that it's really, really good, and it's a really big game that lasts a long time, and it's very charming. And the only thing I think I heard about it that was not great was about the music.
The music. So
Yeah.
I have that game and I've been playing it for a bit on PC and I like it. I haven't played it in a while because other things got in the way, Pokemon. But I agree with everyone else's sentiments that it's a very good game and that it's your classic RPG. As long as you're okay with turn-based combat and RPGs the way that they used to be, you'll be right at home with this game.
Yeah, that's like exactly what I need. I like playing games like that, and the last one I played was Octopath, which like threw some extra wrinkles into it, which was really cool. But I'm ready for something that's like super old school.
Yep,
And it
it's
looks like
definitely a
it
good
just like has
game.
such a good it has such a good
The aesthetic's
style,
good
like
too.
art style. Yeah.
It's a very pretty one. But I agree also with the music thing. The music thing makes me want to bash my ears and cut my ears off. Bash my head and cut my ears off. It's not terrible, but it's repetitive, and
Yeah.
repetitiveness is terrible. So yeah, if you ever get tired, you probably won't be tired in like the first 2 hours or so. But once it starts hitting, I really do suggest just turning your stereo off because you'll probably not hear any interesting tracks after like the first 2 hours, to be honest. Yeah, but
That's
that's
a
my
real
kind of
bummer,
stuff.
just considering
It
that it's like
is.
such a big game, but it's fine. I'm used to I've been playing Destiny for a couple of weeks, or like a week, and I play that on mute entirely. So I can do that
Good.
if
Why do you play it on mute?
because I feel like Destiny is more like I basically just put on a podcast while I play it, because that's more like, I don't know, I just kind of think that you don't need the audio to enjoy that game just because the shooting is so much fun. And so
Mm.
I'm just that's kind of the way I prefer to play it. And the story is not like all that exciting to me, so I don't really need to hear the voice acting or anything. eventually Destiny just becomes a lot of like checking boxes off and like doing a lot of repetitive stuff. So I don't necessarily need to play with the audio on.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's
It's
fair.
not like you have to sound whore and hear footsteps, right? Right.
Oh my god. So like,
Not
you can't play
necessary.
Fortnite unless I have a headset on, or else I'm just
Yeah.
all
Potato.
messed up.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't hear your enemies
I'm go-
coming. You're screwed. You don't
I'm
have to
just
worry about
looking
it.
at this at the list, and the only other things I could see that would provide some neat value for anyone out there who needs it. PlayStation 4 with Spider-Man for $200. That's
You
a
know,
pretty good
I was
deal.
gonna flip that topic on you, Mark. Don't you need a
Whoa,
PS4 because your
really?
disc drive is
I
broke?
just might, because beep beep beep. Oh, sorry, Mark had to leave because his disc ejected. But
That's pretty awesome, actually.
yeah,
That's a
that
good
I mean,
deal. That is really
you
good.
basically get the console for $160. That's not bad when
That's
you
Yeah.
when you look at it.
I
But
mean,
I would do it. I would do
It's
it.
and a
pretty good.
PlayStation Plus 12-month membership, $40. Not bad.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Another thing I noticed is so we're looking at a Polygon list of all different deals. So this stuff from like GameStop and Walmart and Best Buy and whatever. There's a PC game section, and I just want to highlight really quickly, just because this is like relevant to me today. Or actually, oh no. So Yakuza 0, Yakuza 0 is like $12 right now, which seems really good because I just downloaded Yakuza Kiwami from the PlayStation Store because it's free, and I played like an hour of it today, and it's the first time I'm playing a Yakuza game, and it's really funny and really good. The combat's really fun to play, so that seems like a really good deal. And I
I've
think
heard very
Yakuza
good
0 was a
things
pretty
about the
recent
Yakuza
one.
series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm so excited to like really like sink my teeth into that one because I know there's like a lot in those games, and I think Kiwami. I was like trying to figure it out before, but I think Kiwami is like remake of the original one. So I think I am starting at the right place. But yeah, but Yakuza 0 is a prequel, so that's probably also a good place to start as well. So just want to highlight that one really quick.
And I have yet to try out the Yakuza. Yeah, Yakuza Kiwami that's on PS Plus. I should get around to that too. Because you're certainly not the first one that's told me to do that.
Yeah, you should download it just to have it. I think up until like December 5th or something. I think it said.
Yep. Yeah. Obviously for the month. So yeah, I should probably actually do that.
Yeah.
Probably do that right after this. Now I think about it. But thank
Yeah,
you for
just
that
to
reminder.
secure it.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
And last thing, Spyro Reignited Trilogy is $10 off. So buy it. It's real good. It's real
And
good.
you have gotten your money's worth and more from that, have you not?
100%, 100%, and that's why you should do it because it's great. Moving on.
You know, I was gonna say the
moving
fact that
on.
the PS4 Slim is that cheap, you gotta wonder if that's just leading into like PlayStation's. Do you think there's?
I'm calling it now. It is.
It
The
is? You
next
think
big
so?
console,
Yeah,
Yep.
let's go for it.
the PS4 plus one.
No, that's the PS. Isn't that the PS4 Pro?
No,
Not what the
because
Pro's
4 plus
supposed to
1
be?
equals 5.
PS4
that.
XL.
No, PS4
Well-
XR
Mini.
or XS.
XS Max.
We just followed
XS
Apple naming conventions for this.
But yeah, so Sony is planning to skip E3 next year, and that could mean a couple things.
Yo, if that doesn't mean new consoles coming, I don't know what does. Like, they want all eyes on them.
Well, do you mean
And
like
in 2019, right?
You mean the following
Yeah.
year, or you think this year?
No,
not-
I
not-
think
not
it. I
Like
think
2019 or 2020, basically.
2020.
I think it's coming. I think no. I
Really?
think it's coming out. Yep, I think it's coming out before holiday 2019.
Really?
That's my
That's
guess.
a very
Yep.
aggressive one.
Yeah.
I was
You heard
expecting
it.
that.
You heard it first here.
You heard it here first, folks.
Chris
Oh,
knows when it's
2019.
coming out. He's got the inside scoop.
The gospel according to Chris. I'm telling you, it's happening. It's just it's happening.
Is
I
this
think
based
it's
off of
about
a
that
leak?
time.
Har har har. No. Or,
Listen,
I mean,
man.
just
I know
walk logic.
you guys don't like to get into speculation kind of stuff, but I watch a lot of speculation YouTubers and people that really dig into it, and all signs are pointing towards 2019 that it's coming out this year. And the fact that they're leaving E3 and they're holding their own fucking giant thing, which you know they're
Hold
going
on.
to.
Wait, is that actually happening? Because I thought they were just not going to be doing anything.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
the
so
that's
so
what I
I'm
was.
I
Go ahead.
Yeah, you know what? You're probably right, but I highly doubt that they're not going to do anything. I think that they are going to do something, but it's going to be their own thing because they
Oh,
think
I
they own
see.
console gaming right now.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
so
they
I'm
think that way. Go ahead, Mark.
I
Yeah.
wasn't exactly sure if it really just meant, oh hey, we're not gonna actually go to E3 this year and instead do a more like Nintendo Direct style thing. I don't think it was really clear from the article that I read,
Hmm.
but it could just mean that they're gonna do like a pre-recorded thing and then not have a live show like they did for this year.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. To be honest, I thought it'd
I
be
think
something
I
completely
saw
different.
somewhere saying that they won't have any kind of E3 presence like either being at the show itself or doing
Or just
something
having
like
something at the show.
alongside it. Yeah, I think like I'm not saying that that's not going to happen, but I think if it does, it probably won't even happen in that weekend. I think they're planning if they plan something, it won't even be that June weekend that it is week.
Right.
Maybe they're not going to eat. I don't know.
Yeah,
We
Maybe
can
maybe they're
open up
gonna do
such a
something
can of
huge
worms here.
beforehand. We can. Maybe they're gonna do something before E3 and they want to jump the gun.
I mean,
I
if
feel
you
like that
want to
is
steal
like
the
a
thunder, yeah.
typical or like a a Sony move that would make sense to me if they just like, oh, we're just gonna change the rules real quick and get ahead of
Yeah.
everything. That seems like something they would do.
agree.
But does that give Microsoft time to adapt and change? Or are they
Well,
too far into their into everything? Because Xbox went first last time and showed a bunch of stuff, and then PlayStation was like, "Well, hold on a second, we're better than you." You know?
This is
So
how you
I
share
don't know.
games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't
Well,
know.
we'll have to see.
We'll have to come and see. We'll
Yeah,
have to see.
I generally though, just like general thoughts on this is that I'm bummed because I think of E3 like, you know, sitting down like watching all of those press conferences is like one of the most fun. I know it's just a big marketing event, but like seeing when there's a new game revealed and like watching a trailer to get all excited is like one of the
yeah.
most fun things to do when I'm like in terms of like events, like video game events for the year. And
Mhm.
knowing that Sony won't be there just means that like, okay, less surprises, which is a bummer. I just always look forward to it. So I hope they do something to make up for it.
So so to that point, that makes me wonder, is just E3 as a whole, is it
Done?
just
Is it done?
is it
Is
dwin
it
is
over?
I
the
could see
is
that.
the fire going
I
out
could see that.
on E3?
I mean,
I could see it.
people have been voicing
Because
discontent with E3 for a while now. People are just kind of.
because I mean, Nintendo already does Nintendo Directs throughout the course of the year, so we know about most of the stuff that they're doing before E3 even comes around.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then, I think and then Sony occasionally has PlayStation Experience or whatever that's called. Microsoft is really the only one who's ever really been, you know, always doing their thing there. So
There's
so
also
is it becoming more of like a
Bethesda, right? Bethesda, EA, and
yeah,
Ubisoft.
like the big game developers,
Yeah.
like that's really all that is now. So now does it become more of just like a convention sort of thing
An
and less
empty
of like
husk of
a
what it used to
news
be.
event? Is it like the naming convention or
Maybe it's strictly developers now. Maybe that's what they're going towards.
I mean,
To
and that's
trying
what
to get
it
all
that's
of
what it
like
used to
the
be, though, right? I mean, it wasn't always
yeah.
open to the public. It was only relatively
Yeah.
recently where they started opening this thing up to the public. It didn't always have to be that way. Now we
Yeah,
live in
they
different
went
times.
back
What
and
do you
forth
mean?
on it, I think, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
like it
No,
was
no, that's not what
only
I'm talking about. That's not what I'm
Oh,
talking about. I'm talking about instead of like Microsoft and PlayStation and Nintendo doing these huge things, it's just the only presentations are developer presentations and not presentations from the actual console makers. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's what they're trying to move towards.
right,
yeah, and I
right.
mean that's again that's fine too. Again, the larger
I don't know.
like the larger companies they can distribute the news and show all these surprises. It's basically what Nintendo's already doing with the treehouse and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
we
You
don't
know, I
really need a show
wonder.
like E3 to get this news out to us anymore. What
I
do you think?
wonder
Mhm.
if it's another kind of portion of this has to do with it just being like extremely expensive. Do you remember watching the Sony conference from last year where they
Yeah.
like basically built like 3 different rooms to like
Mhm.
Oh
kind of
yeah, right.
look
And they
like
walk them through it.
Yeah.
yeah, to
Yeah,
like look
because
like
it's
the
the
games that they
experience.
were revealing and
Mhm.
just basically made it this whole big grand show. And I wonder if like
Pretty
maybe
lame.
one day they're like, hey, maybe we don't have to go so
Yeah.
crazy.
Let's
And I
not
mean,
go
I
crazy. Let's
remember,
not do it at all. Yeah, that's a
I,
pretty
re- I
big shift.
remember hearing that like that was a huge disaster
It was.
for anyone who was actually attending the thing. So maybe they're taking a step, excuse me, a step back to see, you know,
Even
it,
for
it,
people that were watching on TV, though. Like,
Yeah,
did
yeah,
you
it was
watch it?
awkward to
it
It
watch.
was,
like
it was
didn't
weird, yeah.
it almost didn't make any sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It wasn't exactly good. It wasn't good to watch, and I'm sure it wasn't good to actually experience firsthand walking through those rooms. I appreciate the
They
thought, but I don't think it worked.
they talk about games for like 5 minutes, and then they're like, "All right, and now everyone's gonna be walking to a different room. So like, let's talk about what we saw." And like, no,
Yeah,
that's not what E3 is, man. E3 is like every second is hitting you with something, 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 something. It's not us just like waiting for you to walk into it, shuffle like 1,000 people from one room to the next. It's silly.
and then we'll show the people at home this 10 minutes of awkward, talk
Yeah,
around a table. Oh
we're
yeah,
gonna get there
that
eventually.
listen, we work for Sony and that game looks really good, right guys?
Yeah, yeah. I don't
But
know.
if there's one thing we know, it's that Sony isn't revealing the PlayStation 1 Classic there
Or that we're not getting
because
another PlayStation 1. Haha.
because the PlayStation 1 Classic was revealed about a month ago.
Actual trash.
Yeah, and it's got none of the games that anyone who bought a
Hey,
PlayStation 1.
it's got Metal Gear 1. It's got Metal Gear
That's
Solid 1.
okay. So it's got one game that Rob wants to play, and it's $100.
Don't you guys want to play Cool Borders 2?
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah, that's a real game that I care about, right?
listen, I've been
What about
waiting for the
Jumping
re-release.
Flash? Jumping Intelligent Cube? Like I you know what? Maybe maybe we're just too young, but I don't remember most of these games.
I
I don't
mean,
either. I really don't think. I
I
don't.
don't. Well, I never had a PS1. My first Sony console was the PS2, so this was a little bit before my time. But like Final Fantasy 7, like Final Fantasy 7 has been already released as a digital game
Put it
on
everywhere.
it,
It's gonna
it's
be on
it's
Switch soon,
literally everywhere. It's coming to the Switch. It's like this is why the reason you would buy this is for Final Fantasy 7, but who's paying $100 for a copy of Final Fantasy?
It's true.
Nah. At this
Yeah,
point,
true.
they totally understand that people are just buying this so they can put it on their shelves because the games
Let's
themselves
go.
are not worth it.
Yeah, let's go through the list so people can really understand what we're talking about. So this is the list: Battle Arena Toshinden, Cool Borders 2, Destruction Derby, Final Fantasy 7. All right. Grand Theft Auto, which if you've played the first games, is way different than the new ones. Intelligent Cube, Jumping Flash, Metal Gear Solid, cool. Mr. Driller, have no idea what that is. Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, okay. Rayman, good game.
Okay.
Resident Evil Director's Cut, Revelations Persona, Ridge Racer Type 4, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, no idea. Siphon Filter, that's a game. Tekken 3, I only thought that existed in arcades. Tom
Wait,
Clancy's Rainbow
Tekken 3 is
6.
good. I'll stick up for Tekken 3. I like that game.
Tekken 3 is good, but I've
It
only
doesn't
played
have
it
to
in
be a
arcades.
PS1. Yeah.
Twisted Metal, and then Wild Arms.
Wild
I don't know.
Arms.
Wow, that sounds like a
Sounds like the
resounding
prequel to Arms.
success. And it sounds like it's really gonna fly off the shelves.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't
Can
know,
I ask
man.
can I ask a question?
Yes.
Where the F is Twisted Metal?
Right?
It's
These
there.
are the
Oh,
real
I just said that.
questions.
It's
It's
there.
there? Oh.
He
It's
said
the
that.
second to last one.
Oh shit.
You really.
Okay, I wasn't the only one who didn't hear it. So
Yeah, Twisted Metal is right there.
okay, all right.
But I mean, like, For me, I would only get this to put on my shelf and be like, look, I have a PlayStation 1, but not really.
But it's smaller
It's small. It's small.
and
That's
doesn't have
cool.
a disk drive, and we'll talk more about that later. But
Disc drives, who needs those?
yeah,
I mean,
who needs
who really
those?
does?
I don't know. I feel like they did themselves a disservice by remastering like 6 of the games that made the PlayStation 1 and then not putting them on the PlayStation Classic. Like all of the Crashes remastered, not on the Classic.
Yeah.
All of the Spyros remastered, not on the Classic. They
And
should have
because they
put the Classic
remastered-
out first
Oh yeah,
and then hit us with the remaster.
Yeah, that's a
good
because no one
point.
knew it was coming.
that's a good
At the
point.
very least, give one of the Spyros and one of the Crash games on that, and then you re-release the collection with all this stuff after people say, "Wow, that was so much fun! I'm so glad that they're bringing them back in
Yeah.
Do you
in
think
better
that
graphics."
do you think that Sony thought that people wouldn't notice that Tony Hawk 2 wasn't there because they put Pool Borders 2 there instead?
Because that's a good replacement.
It's the consolation prize.
But I'll tell you
Look
what,
at
though, we get a PS1 Classic, but we don't get the equivalent on the Nintendo end. We don't get an N64 Classic. Or at least
And-
that's what they seem to be signaling here.
And
Mm.
that's kind of nuts because the N64 had a lot of good games.
Great system.
And you know, classic Mario 64, GoldenEye.
Now I'll say this though. If you're not going to do an N64 Classic, you would think that people would still be able to get their fix of those games by a service that used to be known as the Virtual Console that doesn't exist on the Switch.
Which is
Mhm.
an absolute travesty.
That is 100% one of my main hates of what the Switch is that I don't have a Virtual Console to play old games on because it's on the 3DS still.
It's on the Wii U.
It's on the Wii U. Who knows how much longer they're going to keep it up though?
Because they're
We don't
shutting
know
down
for sure
the they're
what
shutting the
their
Virtual
plans
Console for the
are.
original Wii, actually.
Yeah, so they're definitely not opposed to shutting down the systems on older consoles. Granted, the Wii is many years old,
that is
so
true.
it makes sense. But I just you already did the NES Classic and the SNES Classic, and you're not doing a Virtual Console, and you're doing the NES Classic games on the Switch as a part of your online service. I don't get what's going on here.
I
nonsense.
actually have an idea as
Mhm.
to what it is. It might not be nonsense because think about it this way. The N64 controller is the weirdest fucking controller that has ever come out.
Yeah,
And
you're
I
right.
love it. I love it. But how are they going to make a mini N64 controller feel good but still be tiny and fit
But
that in a
it doesn't
box with a
even-
tiny
But hold on, the
It's-
NES and the
Yep,
SNES
they're not
controllers
tiny.
were the same size as the original.
So you would
controller.
imply that it would be the full-size N64 controller, which nobody
That's true.
wants. Which nobody wants.
That's like they'd have to the box would have to be much bigger than the other ones would be. It'd probably be a pain in the ass to actually make those again.
I would, yeah.
Yep.
You know what? Now that you mention it, it's probably a more expensive controller to make because some of the games on the N64 had rumble capabilities, which you needed the rumble pack to plug into your controller. So they're probably not trying to make a new N64 controller with built-in rumble. Maybe it's too expensive.
Well, or they just wouldn't.
Yeah.
Or they just wouldn't add those games that had Rumble, if you want to think of it that way, though. But
That's
Yeah,
fine.
that's
But then
fair.
on top of that, like with the controller problem, making virtual games for that controller is also a pain in the ass because a lot of those games took advantage of, like, say for example, Mario Party took advantage of the fact that you could spin that little tiny joystick in the middle with the palm of your hand, but like that's going to be way weirder to do. I don't know, I feel like those games just might not translate well because I did buy Mario Party 2 on the Wii and it was impossible to play because you didn't have that joystick.
well, the Wii didn't have that joystick. But I mean, if you imagine on the Switch, the G has it. Okay, maybe the joystick's not as good, but it has a joystick as opposed
It's
to the Wii.
the controllers
the
are
Switch had.
like The controller's way different though, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It might be
you're not-
really
you're-
hard to
you're
play
right.
those games.
I mean, you're right.
I don't know.
I agree with you on that one. It's just it's a funny thought. I never really considered that maybe the idea was just killed because the controller is just too much to
So
mass
wonky.
produce. That is amazing. I never thought of it that way. But
And like you got to know that they want to do it because they'd make so much
Yeah.
money if they did it right.
they would.
But
They
it
would.
might just not be feasible for them. Who knows?
Yeah, that's a good point. I never actually looked at it like that. But one
Yeah.
thing I will say, the virtual console needs to exist.
Yeah.
I
But
agree.
that's a topic for a different day.
But you know,
Agreed.
Nintendo kind of did not do themselves any favors by doing the NES and SNES classics, because that suggests that there's a trend that like something like this will come out, and I think it'll be a lot of bad. I mean, I think it did generate a lot of bad press that they're basically saying like they're not planning on doing this just because, well, they did it 2 times, right? So now, okay, so
true.
we should expect all this other stuff. I mean, think about it, like Game Boy games and GBA games and all that stuff. Like,
They should make a classic
know,
Game Boy. Oh wait,
well,
I just
yeah,
did a Game Boy.
well, if they did, I mean, they could do something. I don't know, but it just seems like uh, it's becoming a trend, but now they're stopping it after it just seeming like it's becoming a trend, which is like a strange choice to me.
I mean, we're just living in a world now where it's all about having access to our games digitally. And of course,
Mhm.
Nintendo's kind of dropping the ball on that with the virtual console, which is again unfortunate. But do you guys really think that you would be okay with being able to download all these games? Now, there was a rumor that was previously going around, or there is a rumor going around that Microsoft is contemplating making an Xbox console without a disk drive. Now,
So
would you guys be okay with that? A console without a disk
so
drive?
here's the thing. So I'm of the mindset that I like having physical copies of games because I can put them on my shelf and see all the games that I haven't opened and played. And also I just think it looks nice having like game cases sitting on a shelf. I don't know. Call me old fashioned, call me a collector. I don't care, but I think it looks
Hey,
cool.
I'm right there with
But
you, man.
to
I
the
can agree with
same
that.
token, my PS4 has gotten to the point where it spits the disc out once every 15 minutes. So I wouldn't necessarily be opposed to a console without a disk drive, but then you run into the problem of, well, storing all those games gonna be a bitch.
Hard drive space. Well, it's hard drive space, and you got to also consider those that don't live in affluent neighborhoods that can afford a connection speed that can download so many games.
Yeah, that's a
Consider
big
I
that.
problem.
I don't agree with with a console without a disk drive. I mean, I
I think it's
I think. Go ahead, Mark.
I think it's inevitable, honestly. I mean, I think
Inevitable.
yeah,
that it makes, or rather, like I agree with some of the points you brought up with, physical games being collector's items and not having that wouldn't be so cool, and also just convenience and just the, general things you'd expect with a disk drive. But, if you look at hardware design that's like outside of video games, like with Apple and uh I mean MacBook Pros haven't
Well,
had
they don't
disk
have anything
drives
anymore,
for
right?
a really long
right.
time. And then iPhones and, a lot of other smartphones got rid of another drive, the headphone jack, right? Like
Right.
Mhm.
it's I'm sure there's like a common thread between all that stuff where it's probably cheaper to not produce that stuff and probably makes the devices smaller, and that's probably what's going to happen with consoles too. I just think it's inevitable, even though it would be nice to have it there. Maybe there could be like some sort of like modular, you know USB in a disk drive for a console that doesn't come stock with one.
Oh,
I
that's
think
a
I might be
thought.
okay with that. Yeah.
I mean, PCs
Or
already do
maybe
that. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Chris.
they do. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the next gen console in terms of a disk drive because right now I'm not too concerned about having an Xbox One with no disk drive since there are Xbox Ones with disk drives that are available.
Hmm.
Right.
But with the next generation console, what would they do? if they didn't have a disk drive, like that would either be the death of GameStop, or
Oh yeah, that's true.
you'd have to have some sort of way of like going to GameStop to buy a game on like
Like
I
a
don't know, like an
voucher.
code.
You
SD
buy a
card.
voucher.
Yeah.
No, not a voucher, like having a physical copy of the game on a card so that you could put it into your console and then like preload it onto the console.
Yeah,
But
yeah, something
You
like
know what I
that.
mean?
isn't that
So you mean
isn't that
cartridge?
kind of going in reverse? Then that's
Yeah,
not really going.
But which
to-
one's more expensive to, because are they
Oh,
going to make that jump? You know what I mean? Because what I'm saying is, if they don't do that, then video game stores are dead. For the most
well,
part.
I mean, GameStop is
Already
already a
dying.
really depressing place to go. Like,
Yeah.
you walk in and you're literally the only person in the store,
Yeah,
and
the
it's
only
just
other
like,
person is buying a Funko Pop. I digress.
And
True.
also the other like side effect is the Blu-ray. And
Blu-ray
so many
players.
people would not have a Blu-ray player anymore if this starts. to
Right.
happen.
But
Right.
yeah, this leads to a point that I was going to bring up. That think about, and Chris or Mark with the C, you were touching on it, but like think about like anything else or any other hardware space outside of gaming. Nowhere else really uses a disk drive, and do people really actually buy their movies on Blu-rays, or do they just stream them on Netflix? You know,
I haven't bought a Blu-ray in so long.
you
Well,
see, that's the idea,
like
right?
the thing is, I only buy Blu-rays of movies that I really liked, and if there's a steelbook version of them, because steelbooks are
They're awesome.
very nice. But I mean, when I was putting together my computer, I was looking how much it would cost to put in a disk drive. I mean, they're only like $20 or so, and you can even buy external disk
External disk
drives for
drives. Yeah.
computers.
Yeah.
So it's not really necessary for that. I don't think that's something that would really well for like a console thing where you're spinning the disc externally. I don't think that would really work out so well. But I don't like the idea of only being able to download a game, because games these days monstrous. They're
They're
60,
huge.
70, 80 gigabytes.
I mean, the
Like,
big example I think here I just want to use is like Spyro. Like Spyro Remastered. The first game is the only game that's on the disc. The rest you've got to download, and that thing is like 64 gigs if I recall correctly. So if you
Wow.
think
Mhm.
about it, someone has to sit there, and Chris, you probably had to sit there and download the whole thing. You
Yeah,
know?
wasn't Red Dead 2 like 90?
Yeah,
90
Red Dead
gigs?
2 is
Yeah.
huge.
Like,
Huge.
you're spending the time to download it. You have to hope that you have a good internet connection to download all of it, and then you have to make sure that you have the hard drive space to fit all those games. You know?
That's why I don't think they're getting away from physical copies somehow. They're going to put some way. I think disk drives are big, they take up a lot of space, but if you have something that can read an XD card or an SD card and you just throw a card in there like that or something similar, that saves a lot of space in your console.
But if it
So-
were an SD card, you would have to be something proprietary. Otherwise, you're opening yourself up to pirating. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's the
No,
issue
but
there.
yes, it's true. Obviously, it wouldn't be, but I'm saying like a card that way that you could just plug into your system, load up the game, and even pull it out so it's already like loaded on there. Or you could, I don't know, they'd have to find another way. I don't think they would jump off that deep end yet.
So it's not so much
Like-
discs as it is just having a physical interface to be able
Yeah.
to access.
I
the
don't
game
think
content.
they'd go there yet.
Mm.
Maybe they will. Who knows? I
Listen,
don't think they would though.
The only other thing they could
You just gotta
do
be Apple.
is
Have courage. Sorry.
you'll have to have
or hubris.
you'll have to have like the games in the cloud, but I'm not ready for the whole cloud gaming thing just yet.
Nope.
No,
So,
we weren't
I
ready
don't-
with
and
the Xbox One. I don't think we're ready yet.
Listen,
Still.
I mean,
Listen, you can play
think about
Assassin's
it,
Creed in Chrome now.
Like-
that is true, though. That's true. Though.
like PlayStation already tried the streaming of games, and it wasn't really so hot. So let's Xbox. Let's keep the disc drive for now.
Yeah, let's
Agreed.
just keep it calm. Keep it, let's keep it for now. Agreed.
Agreed. All right, cool. So I guess
Anyone
that
have
somewhat
any
sums it
final
up.
thoughts?
I'm
I think
Gucci.
we're all good.
Yeah.
All right. So if that's it, that's gonna do it this time on the Memory Slot A podcast. Now saving. Don't turn off the power.
Bring.